Hello and welcome to Crafting Some Ambience. It's lovely to see you here. Disclaimer: please cook, bake, craft, create, use tools or equipment etc. in accordance to manufacturer's instructions and with appropriate safety measures or protective equipment. My way may not always be the best way, so double check on safety before proceeding. This video is a vlog rather than a tutorial. No health advice will be given. Always consult fully qualified medical professionals. Stay safe, stay kind, and have fun creating. Thank you very much. Products shown on Crafting Some Ambience. At the time of uploading this content, I have had no products or services given to me as sponsorship to promote or to review. I either buy things myself under my real name without mentioning this channel, or a family member might have given me a birthday or Christmas gift. All views given are based on my experience at the time of purchase or using the item or service. Sometimes unforeseen circumstances happen during manufacture, packaging or delivery that may differ from my experience, which I feel empathy to you for, but I cannot be held responsible for. Thank you. Stay kind, stay safe, and enjoy crafting.
Hello and good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world, whatever your time zone is. Welcome to Crafting Some Ambience. I have recently had some new 3D figures printed by the lovely LayeLuxeArt on Etsy. I will put the details up at the end of the video. These are for forthcoming projects. One, the witchy apothecary lady is definitely going to give you a clue. However, hopefully this little Victorian mini-me might not give you as much of a clue. The first stage of painting these wonderful figures, and I really can't stress that I want to do these justice, because whenever you order from LayeLuxeArt, the attention to detail, the perfectionism, the way that they invest in what you've asked them to do, they buy into what you say it's for. So I had my daughter, my husband and me made into minifigures looking like us for the main dollhouse that I give you the tour of, and they send you photos at different stages so that you can agree and make choices and collaborate. But also I found it really interesting hearing about someone's artistry and crafting technique and process that I don't do. So they really are generous with the knowledge and the time in hearing that you're interested in what they do and explaining where your project is up to, what's happening. And I really, I've got to say a massive thank you, because as well, these were quite detailed, and I know for a fact they spent so much time. I took up way too much of this person's life on these figures, and I am so grateful. So I really want to paint them well and do them justice, not just selfishly in terms of I want my projects to look marvellous, but also because if you've got an independent business person like that, putting all those hours in, all that expertise in, and even suggesting ways in the future we could do other things. If you've got someone's work like that, you've really got to treat it with respect. So the first stage will be priming. I know in a previous video I didn't say I was going to make you watch paint dry. However, painting these is exactly that. Now I have my quite well used paint palette. I'm sorry, it is not a posh YouTube palette. It is a, you know, never trust an artist with a clean palette kind of palette. It is well used. I have white primer from B&Q this time, and I'm going to do initially one really thin coat. Previously with my other figures I spray painted primer on them and it was brilliant. However, let's just say it was a good job I went into the back garden, and my husband and my daughter were very amused because mess was made. And thankfully it was on an old bin liner in the back garden. However, it is January, it is cold, and it is very wet outside, so I really don't think spray paint would be the best idea. So we're going to go for a really thin coat, and if I need to off camera I'll do more coats, and then we'll have a look at the painting. So let's start with Mini Witchy Kerry, and I am also being really hesitant because thin coats will also mean that I don't clog up details, because especially on this one, you know, she has the potion bottle, she has creases in her hat, she has pages in her book, she has a little tool belt with everything. And it was really cool because I took a photograph of myself in all my glory, and asked AI to turn this woman, please turn this woman. I always say please on AI because, you know, you got to have manners. Please turn this woman into a witchy apothecary. And it did. And with that picture, I then could send it to LayeLuxeArt, and they did not say, Kerry, what are you thinking? They fastened their seatbelts and they went along for the ride. And I am, again, absolutely thrilled. And I know just how much you learn. So if anyone, it's not even just 3D figures that they do. If anyone's into D&D, Pokemon, fantasy creatures, dice towers, you know, anything that could be made by this type of craft, they are doing it. and they are doing it extremely well. So far this first coat, because I'm doing it so thin as well, you can still see the grey through it a little bit, but that's not a heartache because I can just do a second coat and it's okay. So I will do a little bit more and then I shall leave you, and then with the magic of here's one I made earlier, which British people of a certain vintage will recognise from Blue Peter, there will suddenly be two fully primed minifigures. So I shall see you soon. Hi, and we're back. So to save a little bit of time, I have done the base colours on both of the figures. We're going for a very purple witch and we're going for a very red Victorian lady. And now we are going to do the detailing, the shadows, the eyes, the writing and details in the book, the lighter grey on the stone floor. I think actually the wooden floor here has come out quite well, so I'm going to do my best not to splodge on that and destroy it. But yeah, I am really pleased. I know that there are amazing miniature figure painters out there. I follow a lot of them on YouTube. People who really do the details incredibly well and are really experienced. I have only done this previously with my first set of figures from LayeLuxeArt, so I am very much in the trying and experimenting and doing my best, but not going so far past my best that I ruin everything that that artist has made for me by spoiling the paint job. And I know it's only paint, you can probably paint over it, but you do kind of get a little nervy, don't you? So we shall start with our witch. Now this figure is going to have a dual purpose. It's going to work in two different settings because I have two projects down the pipeline that I'm very much in the planning stage for, and it'll be a more seasonal in spooky season. So the colours and the choices I'm making let this figure blend into those, and I don't want to ruin it for you by telling you. I mean, you can probably guess what some of them are, but I don't want to ruin it for people who, you know, want to wait and see as the weeks go on what the videos are. So I've had a good look around the figure. It doesn't look like I've gone the wrong colour onto the wrong area too much. So I'm going to start with the little face. I'm going to start with eyes. So I can see on the printed figure exactly the eye shape because the face is very well defined. So I'm going to be super careful. These now are model paints that I have bought from It's a mixture of shops actually. The Warhammer brand shops, Chandler's near us who have a Warhammer area, and Hobbycraft over the past 12 months or so, because I've found that treating these 3D printed figures as if they are a Warhammer or Lord of the Rings Warhammer miniature is the best way of painting them. Okie dokie. I need to stop procrastinating and get some paint on her eye. So here we go. Very, very, very gently for the whites of her eyes. A bit more paint. I've been a bit reticent there. Oops, I might have gone a little bit over there. Rinse my brush. I might just use a dry brush and just take a little bit away and kind of guide that white paint into the area a little better, because I can just go over the skin, you know what I mean, but I'd like to get things done as well as I can first time, because I am here to stretch myself. Okie dokie, that'll do hers. While I have white on my brush, I'm going to do the Victorian lady's eyes. Now she is very much red and gold. I'm going to put the gold on when I do the details. She is for a project I have planned that is coming relatively soon, and I don't want to ruin it for you, but she is a Victorian lady who is going to be in her workplace, so it's very much like the livery or the colours of where she works. Again, this is meant to be me. So I am doing colours that look like me. So we have the whites of her eyes in. Okie dokie. I'm just going to put the lid on but ajar so I can get it back off again. And next, I think I will do a little bit of detailing on her book, because of course we've got to let the eyes dry now. I'm just going to do some very simple eyes, and then I'm just going to take most of the paint away so it just catches in some of the grooves, because there's lovely page-shaped grooves. On the surface already. Fab, because I don't want it to be flooded. Now, writing. Here we go. I'm not going to try and be ambitious enough that I get the writing on the page to look like proper words, because I think that's going to massively exceed my abilities. So I'm going to pretty much just make a gesture of a lot of text on either side. I think that second side has just got a little bit too lively for me. However, it could be a grimoire or similar. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give the illusion of it's like a medievally style manuscript by just suggesting an illuminated letter on either side. Just think that might be a nice touch. Maybe there might be a few coloured symbols here and there. With different coloured inks. And I'm going to leave it. I'm going to know when to step away. Now, just want to give some definition. Some of the creases. Tiny little bit of, it's almost dry brushing. And if it gets a bit much, just smooth it, just blend it in. Dry off the brush and take moisture away because you don't want it pooling too much. Maybe a little bit of shadow around where she's got bottles and things, because of course that gives a little bit more definition. A little bit around the belt. Again, this is not how the pros would do this. This is me trying to do things within the realm of stretching myself, but not, for a British expression, making a dog's dinner out of it. Or a pig's ear out of it. A bit of water to blend those ones in because they're a bit strong. And the excess away because we just want a little bit of suggestion that there's shadow or not. You know, it's shadow, it's not whacking round the chops, kind of. I'm going to try a little bit of this darker blue on the underdress as well, because she has a layered dress. This is much more in keeping with this darker blue, so it doesn't, I don't think, need as much blending in, but I am still being quite reticent. I've just caught my pebble. So with the magic of getting it quickly, I shall grab that. I shall just do a little bit on the band of the hat, because there is lovely fabric lines, creases going through it, and I think that's a nice feature to have. Just going to blend that front one a little bit because it doesn't have to be quite as You know, it's a crease, not a chasm, kind of. I want to give some definition on around the leather pouches that she's got here that have a flap at the front. Tiny bit. Suggestion around the fingers, but again I'm gonna blend those in a bit so they look like shadows where she's holding things. Going to be brave and get the blue. And ooh, the paint has gone beautifully in two very defined pupil holes, which is lovely and makes my life a lot easier. We shall try with this lady as well. Fab. Lid just slightly ajar. And give a slight definition to the mouth. Going to get a little bit of this kitchen towel and just dab away some of that water. Just try that again. Again, we're learning. I do have the flesh tone out ready, so I can just top up that little area on her chin. Some discreet eyebrows ish. Little pupils. I shall do the eyes, the flesh colour. In a moment. That's it. That was better. I need to touch up this lady's dress at the bottom. There will be a little bit of shadowing on the purse or handbag, maybe a bit slightly for the fingers, blend it in a little bit. Could actually use this to dab off the excess water, that's better. So there is a little suggestion of fingers, but it's not shouting. Suggesting, not shouting. Where this lady works, the colour scheme is red and gold. So we have some metallic gold paint for buttons and thought it'd be quite nice on the edges. The bow. That also just gives it a little bit more definition, which is nice. Maybe a little trim along the edge of the bonnet. Being super careful because, as usual on cameras, my hand has started shaking. Here we go. A little on the edge of a shawl. It doesn't have to be loud blinky gold because, let's be honest, we want to suggest that these clothes have been well worn. Therefore, we don't really want to suggest that she's just stepped out of the tailor's shop. You know, presumably this work uniform will have been washed and washed, so I'm using this more antique gold colour to edge things, just as a little bit of interest, but not as, you know, again, suggestion, not a shout. Red and purple are two of my favourite colours, although in all honesty I am a rainbow colour girl. Maybe a tiny bit around the edge of the cuffs. Do need to just, when I get the flesh out, just go where her arm meets her dress, because I have just slightly caught it there. That's better. Just gonna go again, just discreetly along the folds
of this dress. Virtually no paint on it. Because we're going for shadows, not blocks of colour. But I just thought it would just add and make sure that things weren't too flat, because with the clothes being two shades of the one colour, I didn't want it to be lacking in an element of realism, but also of just like aesthetically, I don't want it to be meh, because there's so many details on these figures. It is fabulous, and I really want to do it proud. Because I know full well how much work went into these figures. Like I said, I took up an awful lot of this person's life and artistry while we did it, and I say we, while I was amazed by what they did. And they amazed me. It was pretty much the process. I'm gonna be, well, there's quite a bit of red in this brown, I'm just gonna give some cheeky shadows up here on the bonnet and see how that goes. Let's just see if that adds, again, subtle, not, you know, supposed to be whispering to me, not shouting yoo-hoo. But especially as light moves, etc., it might give that extra bit of je ne sais quoi, so to speak, a little bit along where the bonnet meets the short, a little suggestion there. Ooh! I am getting super pleased. Which is very rare for me with my own work, because I am my own worst critic. Give the flesh colour a shake. Now, do have a tiny bit around this lady's eyebrows to fill in, because I was more reticent with the black paint, because obviously the flesh colour is lighter than the black paint, so I would rather the gap than having to do too many coats over. I mean, this model paint actually goes on super well. I've just gone onto my beautiful sleeve. Let's have a little look. Is there anywhere? There's a tiny little bit at the top at the hairline for this lady. There we are. And then we need to do this chin area that I splodged. No, this modelling bit actually goes over itself if you do need to correct anything actually super well. It is really nice paint. Just making sure that things are nice and even and covered. Ah, that's better. Let's have a look at the hands and the arms. Make sure that none are purple. Marvellous. So, we are on to the cobblestone base. My grandma actually grew up in a cobbled street where we grew up. First I'd done a layer of black and let that dry. Then I did a layer of very dark grey and let that dry. Now we are going to very gently, so that I don't lose a lot of the definition or splodge my beautiful Victorian lady, go over with the light grey. Again, it is a whisper, not a shout. Because I want the light to go on the higher areas and like the mortar between each cobble and the areas where there is the stone texture, because the stone texture has actually printed really nice and I don't want to destroy it. Because again, I know I keep going on about this, but I really respect this person's work and I don't want to ruin it. And as of filming, they don't even know that I'm filming this video. So when I upload it, I am going to send them a picture of the finished ladies and a link to a video which I hope they'll be pleased about. They don't have to be. They can tell me if they think I did a terrible job, because we're all about honesty. As long as it's said kindly, honesty is fine. Because I'm not delusional, I'm very much early days with miniature painting and with YouTube videos. So I think that has actually picked up, and you can still see both colours and that bit of definition and interest. So I shan't film me varnishing them, but they will once these paints have dried to tomorrow morning. They will be varnished and then they will be put in my main dollhouse for now, until, so that they're kept precious and unblemished until they have the projects that they're going to go into. And I'm really happy with them, because I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, I painted that, and as ever,
I am a perfectionist and my own worst critic, and yet I'm liking it. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. I hope, especially my UK viewers, that the recent weather, you've kept safe, you've kept warm, you've kept healthy and well, because it did get quite lively. I hope that you have a wonderful week and a wonderful day. I hope you enjoy your crafting, and you stay safe, and you stay kind, and you stay wonderful. And if you could like and subscribe, that would be wonderful for the channel and for me personally. And take care. I'll see you in the next one. And if you want to find me on Instagram, TikTok or Facebook, Crafting Some Ambience. I also on my Instagram have a link tree, so you can find the TikTok and the YouTube from my link tree as well. And we've opened the channel community for subscribers to chat, so that's also a lovely way for me to be able to get to know you and what you want to see on our channel, because that idea, you know, the idea of not so much, you know, not having ideas myself and relying on your ideas, but just doing crafts that I know that you'll enjoy, and videos that I know will be in line with your interests and your preferences, as well as it all being is what I think. So thank you very much, have a wonderful time, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.